Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Illuminati, the man who rules the world, takes on the head of the global elite in this all-new action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Illuminati in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. An NYPD officer was arrested for allegedly having an inappropriate relationship with a 15-year-old girl.
We are learning an NYPD officer is facing rape charges. 27-year-old Indegnor Kapan was arrested at around 8:30 last night while off duty. Police sources tell us they were initially called to the scene for an assault. When they got there, they found the victim, a 15-year-old, was in an intimate relationship with the officer. Kapan is also facing assault and endangering the welfare of a child charges.
Now, according to reports, police were responding to a 911 call for an assault in Co-op City. And as they responded to this 911 call of this assault in Co-op City, they ran into 27-year-old Officer Indegnor Kapan, who was the resident in the apartment, and as he was residing in this apartment with a 15-year-old girl who alleges that Indegnor Kapan was drunk and had gotten into a altercation as she was trying to get her belongings. This is where police, as they were investigating this assault, eventually found out that Indegnor Kapan was in an intimate sexual relationship with the 15-year-old assault victim, and as they found out that he had had a sexual relationship with this 15-year-old, they then arrested him and took him into custody, charging him with rape, charging him with endangering the welfare of a child, and assault. And after this officer was taken into custody, he basically was again taken into custody and charged with these crimes. And later online, they looked at his background that said that he was on an extended leave at the time of his arrest, an extended leave as related to working with a badge and a gun. He was working on administrative duty at the time, which really shows me that there's possibly was something wrong with this officer, and they were dealing with problems with him previously. Now, the NYPD, from what they presented, are trying to present this as an isolated incident, but when I take a critical examination of the behavior that Indegnor Kapan allegedly participated in, it's definitely fitting the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis, and the behavior of workplace simps that I talk about in my book, Stop Simping in the Workplace. Now, this guy definitely looks like to me to be a man in crisis, because a 27-year-old man who is getting involved with a 15-year-old girl basically is someone who has serious issues as related to having a healthy relationship. And basically, if they're getting involved with a 15-year-old girl, it shows how this man has serious power issues, and was looking for somebody younger that they could go out here and control. That's basically why I believe this man possibly was in this intimate relationship with this 15-year-old and being a part of the NYPD, because an officer of the law knows that, again, the legal age of consent is 18 years old, and that getting involved with a minor basically is a crime. But that didn't matter to this beta male, because this beta male, again, what they wanted to have was not a relationship where they could be dealing with an equal partner. No, they wanted a relationship where they could have more power because they were insecure and felt inadequate about their own power as a man. And because they felt inadequate about their power as a man, this is why this guy was looking to have this relationship with this 15-year-old girl, because he could look to be this, again, man who could be seen as a leader, and an authority figure over this girl. That's possibly the main reason why he wanted to get involved with this 15-year-old girl, because he possibly felt like he couldn't have a relationship with a woman his own age, or a younger woman of legal age. So he got involved with this child, in this relationship, and that relationship basically came to a head when he possibly came home from work, or was at home off duty again, and he was home off duty drunk. And as he was home off duty drunk with this child, again, they possibly had an argument with this woman. The woman calls him a friend, but this guy wasn't a friend at all. No, he wasn't a friend at all. No, he was a guy who, again, while he wore the uniform of a police officer, was looking to prey on a child, going against the oath of his that he took as a police officer to protect and serve, because he wasn't protecting this child in any way, shape, or form. Again, this grown man wasn't protecting this child, being a 27-year-old who's out here with a 15-year-old. Now, I know back in my day, there were guys who were this old who got involved with teenage girls, but it was a crime back then. But the whole thing is that back then people didn't give it a look, because they didn't mind these older men being with their daughters. But this whole relationship in and of itself, again, for an officer of the law, was completely inappropriate for this man to be in, because he knew better than this girl, who had no understanding of anything, had no understanding of the choices she was making, to be involved with this man who was not a friend at all, but was taking advantage of this young woman, taking advantage of this girl who, again, didn't know anything, and basically, again, looking to get involved with her. Again, this is not the behavior a man participates in, because men go out here and get involved with women who are 18 to their own age. Again, they deal with women who are of an age of consent, but this man didn't do this because, again, he basically had issues as related to power, and could not understand that when you're dealing with a teenager, you're dealing with a child. And when you're dealing with a child, you deal with a child by, again, establishing hard boundaries to let them know where the line is. And that's what men have to do in this era of Me Too. And in this era of Me Too, where, again, an allegation can basically cost a man his career, a man has to, again, look out for himself. And sadly, that's not what this officer, Najor Kapan, was doing as related to things. He did a stint in the military. He had gotten a good job as an NYPD officer, but he didn't know how to protect his job like many workplace simps. And because he didn't know how to protect his job, he's basically put that job in jeopardy. And he put that job in jeopardy by, one, going out here and having this relationship with this 15-year-old girl. Again, this relationship in and of itself was completely inappropriate, but this man went out here and got involved with this relationship, possibly believing that people in the police department would look the other way, and possibly thought, because he could get them to look the other way, he could go out here and have this relationship. Now, this guy, he had only been on the job since July of 2024, and in less than 3 years was on extended leave at the time of the arrest, again, and then later on got suspended without pay. I mean, nobody knows why this guy was on leave, but I have to wonder if somebody in the department knew that this guy was out here having this relationship, and that's why they put him on leave. So this guy already was on thin ice as it was, and on thin ice because, again, he was thinking with the wrong head instead of critically thinking about his career. I mean, any sort of critical thinking man who has a job as a police officer understands, yeah, I got this job as a police officer, and again, I gotta watch myself out here, because this is the type of case that can go to internal affairs, and if it goes to internal affairs, basically, this guy's gonna get terminated, and that's what's possibly gonna happen here. This guy is gonna get terminated for possibly again being on extended leave and then participating in this inappropriate relationship with this minor who was underage. So this guy, again, because he was out here chasing an underage minor, thinking with his penis, basically now is on a road where he's going to go from being an officer making anywhere from about, I think, $50,000 to $70,000 a year to basically making nothing at all at the minimum if he gets no jail time, and at the maximum he'll be going from being an officer making $50,000 to $70,000 a year to now making 10 cents to $1 an hour. But I don't think it's going to go that far that he'll be running into Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, or Mr. Sprinkles. No, I don't think he'll be traded for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, packets of Crystal Light lemonade, packets of Crystal Light tea, Keef coffee, Taster's Choice coffee, off-brand lemon lime drink, off-brand grape drink, off-brand fruit punch, off-brand kiwi strawberry drink, off-brand mango drink, off-brand Oreo cookies, off-brand duplex cookies, off-brand vanilla wafers, off-brand ginger snaps, Hunt's snack pack puddings, Fritos chips, packets of soy sauce, packets of sriracha sauce, packets of pork cracklings with hot sauce, packets of beef jerky with cheese, beef summer sausage, honey mustard, packets of sriracha sauce. I mean, I don't think this guy is going to be anywhere near the penitentiary and traded for commissary. No, at the most, he possibly will just lose his job. But this whole case basically shows how a man can go from being gainfully employed to winding up unemployed because he doesn't know how to operate as a man, doesn't understand how to move as a man, because any man out here, we know that when you're out here, you have to watch how you move. And when it comes down to children, again, even if they're teenagers, they are still children. And again, you don't get into it with a minor. No, you don't get within it with a minor because they don't have the emotional maturity to understand how to have a relationship with you. And if you're looking at minors like that, there's definitely something wrong with you. And I have to wonder how this guy passed the psychological profile for being a police officer, because usually guys like this, they usually catch these guys when they're studying the psychological profile. So it shows me that the standards here in New York have fallen off really badly. The standards for police officers have fallen off because a guy like this would have been vetted. But they realized, again, I think somebody realized their mistake, and that's why they put him on administrative in a position where he wouldn't be with the public. They understood that they had a lemon, but this lemon basically came to rot as he basically got into this situation with this underage minor he should have never been involved with. And as he got into this situation that he never should have gotten involved with, basically he went from being a police officer who was gainfully employed to being a man, to being a workplace simp, who basically wound up becoming yet another tragic case of another man in crisis. Now, if you want to learn more about how to identify beta males and identify their antisocial behavior and help someone in your family, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find it at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to learn more about workplace simps and how to avoid winding up in the pitfalls and traps of a workplace simp, you can pick up my book, Stop Simping in the Workplace, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find Stop Simping in the Workplace at other online booksellers at like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to learn how to identify the behaviors of predatory women and also the dysfunctional behaviors of a simp, you can pick up my book, Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, on Amazon.com. And that book will teach you how not to become a simp who basically winds up jamming himself up and costing himself everything as related to his personal life and his own personal career. And again, all these books are available on Amazon.com and other online booksellers all over the world and have transformed lives, and they could possibly transform your life and keep you from falling into a pitfall of a workplace trap like this man basically fell into. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, subscribe. Now available for the first time in paperback. Stop Simping in the Workplace. Men, learn what you need to know in order to protect your job from workplace predators with Stop Simping in the Workplace. Available in paperback at online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.